The Goblin Builder is back in Clash of Clans, but as always, people are confused on whether or not he's actually worth it. On top of that, there are other places where you can invest your gems, including the Lab Assistant and the Builder's Apprentice, and both are a decent use of your gems. So should you invest into the Goblin Builder or the Goblin Researcher, or should you invest into the brand new helpers? That's what we're going to break down in today's video. Now, right off the bat, for all of you that are confused about the Goblin Builder or the Goblin Researcher, it is one of the best investments that you can make with your gems in the game. The cost of the Goblin Builder or the Goblin Researcher is 40 gems per day, and if we take that into account for 16 days, we're looking at 640 gems. Now compare this to the Book of Building and the Book of Fighting that is in the shop, and you can see why it's leagues better than those options. This is considering you have all your builders, so of course make sure to do that first. And to be honest, I've already addressed this topic in multiple videos, so you guys probably already knew about this. But how does the Goblin Builder or the Goblin Researcher match up against the new helpers that we have? Now, because the helpers are something that's always going to be there and they are only a one-time cost, we really need to look at how long it'll take for our helpers to get the same amount of value as the Goblin Builder or the Goblin Researcher. And I'm not going to make this video longer than it has to be, so here are the charts that you guys really want to see. And as you guys can see, at the early levels, both of the helpers, it takes around 200 or so days to break even, but at the maximum levels, it takes around 400 days, almost 500 days to break even and then get better value than you would with the Goblin Builder or the Goblin Researcher. So what does this actually mean, and what should you do in your game? Well, it really comes down to one thing, and that thing is how long do you usually play and how consistently do you play? And guys, since it's the start of the year, it should be pretty easy for us to analyze this for ourselves. Over the past year, if you've been playing, almost every single day, you haven't taken a lot of really big breaks, and you've been consistent about your upgrades, well then you should invest into the helpers, because they're going to be good for you in the long run, and eventually they're going to get even better value than the Goblin Builder or Researcher. But if you're a player who plays every once in a while, or when there's brand new content and you don't always have all of your builders down, then you're better off going with the Goblin Builder or the Goblin Researcher, because they're going to get you really good value right now and it doesn't require you to play anymore. And even though that sounds like an overly simplified answer, that is the truth. That is how I would analyze this, because both of these methods of using your gems, to be honest, are really good as long as you have down the essentials. And by essentials, of course, I mean all 5 builders that you can buy with your gems, as well as any pieces of epic equipment that you want so you can use them in your game as well as in your attacks. Now, since we're here, I did want to mention that we're going to have a brand new goblin decoration that you guys can cop in the shop, as well as a brand new scenery that is reminding me of the Agni Kai at the end of Avatar. But if you guys do decide to purchase either of those or the gold pass, make sure to use code BD in the shop. I would really appreciate it, and it does help a lot. And remember, once again, we are going to get the streak event on January 13th, so I will be making a video analyzing the details about this, so you can expect that. Now with that, you should be able to spend your gems with a lot of confidence and know that you're going to get the best value. But there's a problem, because if you don't have gems in the first place, then you're not going to get anything that I mentioned in this video, regardless of how much you play at all. That's why you need to watch this video right here, where I break down the best way for all players to get gems, whether you're a free-to-play player or a spender.